This video is sponsored by Protect America, a leader in home security systems. We have arranged for you to receive a free indoor camera and doorbell camera when you take advantage of their services. Keep your family safe and check out their website using the special link on the screen or in the description box.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Max Impact Theory. Here's the second part of our episode from last week.
All right, so let me go into another one. Mine. I have tractor tires. So on the playground, we used to have these tractor tires.
They still have them.
They do.
My mom has a couple at the
at
the daycare.
I mean, I just thought, we used to stick kids in the middle and then roll the kid down the hill and and watch them fly out of it. So,
no, they don't do that with the tires.
I mean, and sometimes you get these tires moving pretty quick. It always seemed kind of dangerous. I mean, of course, I was one of the dumb kids that went in the center because it was fun until it wasn't fun.
So I never did it, but there was a thing when I was a kid where if you were small enough to fit in a pillowcase, you'd go in the pillowcase, your older sibling or cousin or something would take the pillowcase and swing it back and forth and swing it around.
Oh, my
and
word.
And then you would come out like completely combobulated, and you'd be like all over the place.
Oh, my word.
Yeah, I remember it. I saw a video of somebody doing it.
You have to be
we
pretty
used to
young,
do this
though.
all the time as kids. Yeah, you gotta be small enough to fit in there. So like 6, 7 years old, you'd have to get one of the bigger pillowcases.
Yeah.
But like I just remember I never did it because I was like that doesn't seem safe.
I know.
And so like you stick them in there and then you swing it around while they're like curled up in a ball inside.
Oh, my word. I've never heard of that.
No,
that's crazy.
It was kind of funny because they come out and they're like falling over themselves and stuff.
Yeah.
And they thought it was great, but. Yeah.
So what's your next one?
So I got the Cinderella battery-powered car. So those cars you sit in.
Okay.
It's got a steering wheel.
Yeah, that doesn't sound too bad.
Me and my brother had 4-wheelers.
What was the problem? Car accidents?
No. So over 40 incidences of smoking wires underneath the seat was the problem.
Okay, so it malfunctioned.
So bad wiring or not insulated enough or something under the seat. It would start smoking. Obviously, you don't want your kids, seat to start smoking while they're riding in it. And there actually was a report of a 4-year-old girl that was driving it, and the seat set on fire.
Oh, man.
And so,
can you imagine a horror a parent would have seeing that?
Stinking Cinderella.
Wow. Well, I guess we can go into, even though I know this is later on your list, but the same kind of situation with hoverboards, right? The off-market hoverboards. Wasn't it not the name brand ones? The battery would go on fire?
Like the ones that aren't like hundreds of dollars.
Yeah.
The one that were the Chinese imports probably.
Yeah, the ones that the battery just exploded on you and burned the hoverboard up.
Well, that happened with Samsung phones too, right? Isn't that an adult toy?
Oh yeah,
Samsung phone. They had the one
the Galaxies.
Phone. Yeah, what was it, 7?
In fact, I really liked. I had a Samsung Galaxy before that, and those were burning up, and I wanted to get another one of them because I really liked the phone, but I didn't just because of that, because it was
I'm not a huge recall on that. 'Cause I saw the one video of some dude sitting on the bus, and all of a sudden,
his pocket.
His pocket pops up, like the fabric pops out, and then it lights on fire.
And he's pulling his pants off and stuff.
Yeah,
right?
and there was people with it underneath their pillows lighting on fire.
Because people sleep with their phones.
Yeah, under their pillows. We talked about that in earlier podcasts about how that's dangerous for your brain.
To sleep.
Don't do it.
Yeah.
Don't sleep with it.
I'm still surprised that people actually sleep with their phones in bed.
I used to.
When
I was a teenager, I used to.
I don't sleep with it even in the room. So, all right, my next dangerous toy. Let's see, which one control line airplanes. Now, I know these are still out there. What a control line airplane is it's like an airplane that you start, and it has a line attached to it. And then when it takes off, you turn your hand forward and back to make it lift off. And then it's on this line, and it goes around in a circle. You spin around with it in a circle. Now, it sounds, like something pretty cool.
So it's a remote control airplane without a remote control.
Yeah. So, and it's just attached to a line, and that's as far as it can go. Now, they work. They were really cool, but when you have somebody like my brother who decides that it would be funny to make it fly straight up in the air and then let go of the line and see if it landed on his older brother, myself, it becomes very dangerous.
Yeah. See, there's dangerous toys, and then there's toys that Steve had.
Yeah. Well, there's dangerous toys, and then there's toys that are not being used the way they're recommended.
Exactly.
And so that's my next one. So what do you got?
So these next two are ones that I have very vivid memories of seeing the commercials for.
Okay.
The first one was Sky Dancers. That was early 2000s.
Sky Dancers.
So basically, it was like a toy. I don't know if it was Barbie or something, but it was some like girl toy that you had a base and you'd pull it, and it was a fairy, and the skirt would flip out and turn into wings, like
Okay.
a helicopter basically, and it'd spin up and around.
Almost like those wooden whirly gig things that you do in your hand.
Yeah, kind of, but it was like a ripcord, and it would spin.
Okay.
So it would fly around in the room. Obviously, you don't want flying things like that in the room.
Deadly Dancer.
Yeah, so there's 150 reports of eye injuries, broken teeth, facial lacerations. 150 reports.
So what are these things made of? Blades?
No, so they were just plastic blades that would fly around. Now, the thing is so me and my brother had, I think I was telling you this the day after Thanksgiving when you came over.
Yeah.
About air hogs that we had, so they're helicopters.
They sound cool. I'd never heard of them
So
before,
basically, it's basically the same concept where you have plastic things, but we never hit anybody with them. Maybe it's because, my parents left the room.
But they were remote control, right?
Yeah, so these aren't controlled. They're kind of just, they fly where they fly. But I remember seeing a lot of, actually saw a friend with one of these Sky Dancers. She ripped the cord and it got caught in her hair, and so it was like spinning around and it caught in her hair, so they had to like untangle it and cut her hair or something.
Do you think some of these toys, we're really thinking of them as dangerous, but maybe it's kind of more like user error or people just not having any sense when
well,
they
I
do
mean,
it?
you got the the uranium ore inside of a med kit, inside of a lab kit, and then you have
situations where people are just not operating like maybe this whirly gig thing right, and they're pointing it at their face,
or like the water wiggler.
Yeah.
It's the funny thing about that was it hit people, and the company that made it was called Whammo. I thought that was funny. They still make plenty of toys.
Yeah, they do.
But so this next one, 2007, is called Aquadots. And I remember seeing the commercial for it. It's like these beads. They were like foam beads with like a harder plastic coating, because what would happen was you'd put them together, make a design, and you'd spritz water on them, and they'd fuse together to make like a picture.
Okay.
Or a design.
Sounds
or
harmless enough, right?
Yeah. So the only problem with that was the chemical that would fuse it together when it got wet.
Like off-gas?
Was dangerous because, kids put everything in their mouths, whether it's the kids or,
Okay.
I actually remember the same friend that had Sky Dancers had this, and she's like, yeah, my mom said I can't have any more because, somebody might put them in their mouths, and it's just, it's not good for you. I didn't, and then I remember, like, on the news, it has basically the GHB drug.
Which is date rape
drug. It's just a date rape drug, yeah. So date rape drug. So there's
now,
reports of kids blacking out and getting very sick because they put these
Okay, so if you did it properly,
mouth.
And it off-gassed, you wouldn't have a problem. You had to actually take it and try to fuse it by sticking it in your mouth.
It actually had to go, yeah.
Okay.
So, there was no fumes or anything. That wasn't the dangerous part. The dangerous part was, ingesting the chemical.
So can you imagine how, like, freaked out a parent would be? Because I guess, I don't know too much about date rape drug, but it just makes you, like, where you're lethargic, right? And you just kind of can't move.
You black out.
Yeah. Oh, man. That's terrible.
But I heard it's not like a blackout where you're just like in a coma.
Yeah.
It's like a loopy blackout where like you don't remember anything, but
who
like
tests
you
these
kinda
toys?
Like
I mean, who tests these toys? I mean, you'd think
the thing is
that,
like, when you're making a toy or a child product, you should definitely test to see what happens when somebody puts it in their mouth.
Yeah, yeah.
Like that seems like that like half of the water wiggler.
Everything.
What happens when they put it in their mouth?
Yeah, that should be the first thing they ask when they.
I mean,
get to
obviously the plastic coating was off, or the plastic casing was off, and it was just the aluminum.
But you got to think about it, all scenarios.
But the other problem is in order for it to get stuck, your mouth has to be the exact right size to get in and not be able to get out.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean? Like if it can't come out, but it can go in.
Yeah.
I understand it's like a bell shape, so it's kind of like a ramp almost, like a funnel.
Yeah.
But you'd have to shove it in there pretty hard in order to not be able to get it back out again.
Yeah. All right. So my next one is a merry-go-round. At least I think they're safer now.
Yeah.
But merry-go-rounds when I
they
was
have
a kid.
governors on them, so they don't go as fast.
Yeah, we used to go on those merry-go-rounds, and some kid would grab it, like a bunch of kids would push it and have other kids on it, and the idea was to push it so fast that other kids would either get sick or get flung off of it.
I grew up that what is that for? And they say, oh, it's for a game. You want to play it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was only everybody only thought it was for the game of see if you don't fly off.
Yeah.
I was like that was the game. Like, don't fall off.
Yeah, did you ever see videos of those guys that take like a motorcycle and put the tire on it?
Yeah,
and
I was showing you the picture. And they were talking about merry-go-rounds. I was like, Tim, I gotta show you these videos. It's usually like Russia or Ukraine or something that. But they'll put the bike on the side and they'll put the wheel at it, and then they'll start making the wheel spin, and so it'll fly so fast that so you have everybody ducked down with their heads towards the middle, and then you see that one guy with all of a sudden his head just flings back,
and then this guy's going.
Yeah. And he flings back, and then his body's in it, but he literally is doing the scorpion.
And then they a lot of them, some of them in the videos got flung pretty far.
They'll fly off.
I mean, they went flying.
Well, the one video, the dude flies off and lands into two other people
that are doing the motorcycle, right? They were
I think they were just standing there watching. They were the ones who were like, this is stupid, so I'm not going to do it, but I'll watch you guys do it.
See, that's the thing about being a spectator is I've always had the theory, if you're going to be a spectator, make sure you're really far away.
Well, didn't you have a spectator incident with what was it, fireworks or something?
Yeah, that's one of my next ones. Should I go over it now?
Why don't you go over
All
it?
right.
I only have a couple left.
Yeah. So this is my last one. Model rockets. Okay. Now they still have model rockets, but let's say that model rockets when I was a kid, we would do it without adult supervision. And when you take some kids just have no sense without adults and how to operate them right. So, sometimes it would be shooting them in a direction that you shouldn't, things like that. But the situation I had was the little engine things that you use to make them shoot up in the air.
Yeah.
I had some friends that decided to take a whole box of them, scrape them out, make a pile with the chemicals, and decided to try to light it. Now, I told you that they used, I can't remember if they used a wick to try to light it or if they actually had a the electric start thing. I think they were trying to do
the ignition button.
I think they were trying to do the ignition button and it didn't work.
Yeah.
And so these were kind of acquaintances of ours. It was me, my brother, and another friend of mine named Hal. Well, and these kids were doing this, and we were watching. We were all into it when they were going to just do it, with wick or ignition. But then once that didn't work, the one kid, his name was Joey, he just said, oh, I'm going to just light it with a lighter. And I'm like, no, don't do that. That is really dumb. We were trying to tell him not to do No. And I go, well, if you're going to do that, I'm going to stand far away.
Yeah. I'm going to be here to watch. Yeah. I want to see it, but I don't want to be a part of it.
And all I remember is him lighting this, and his face was bent over it, and poof, it went up in smoke. All you saw is smoke engulf this kid's head, and
eyebrows gone,
hairs singed. Face is black, goes running home. Oh, and I
I
forgot.
bet it burned too.
I have to tell you one of the last parts of the story. After they went to the doctor or hospital or wherever to check this kid out, the mom came and yelled at me and my friends for letting him do it, even though we spent like most of our time trying to convince him not to do it, and we get in trouble for her kid being dumb and not listening to his friends.
Those are the kind of parents that don't like taking the fall for anything.
Yeah, we're.
It's like your kid's stupid. Like if there's a group of 9-year-olds, if there's 5 9-year-olds and one decides to do something stupid, it's not the other 4 9-year-olds' fault for standing there.
Yeah, and I just remember even trying to tell mom like we told him not to do it, and she's like, "Don't speak back to me." I'm like, okay. Well, so we stayed away from Joey for a little while because we got blamed for him getting hurt.
So we had the rockets. We had bottle rockets, and then we also had the model rockets.
Oh, the bottle rockets! I forgot.
So we had bottle rockets. Those things hurt, man, because we had like a rickety setup for it.
Yeah.
And so when it would go off, it kind of just went off where it wanted to. I remember getting hit in the head with that once. It makes like a ting noise. And you're like, ow, that kind of, because the best bottles would be the thick Coke bottles.
Yeah.
Not the 2-liter ones. I forget what they are. Probably 12-ounce bottles, 16-ounce bottles or something. Because they were harder, so you could pump them up with more pressure before they exploded. And so you do that.
Yeah.
And I remember like the bottom is just really hard because you wanted the harder one. Hit me in the head. It was like ting. It did not feel good. And then
at least it didn't break and like. Yeah. Well, I don't know.
It hurt. I had a lump on my head.
Yeah. But if it broke, you would have got cut up.
And then with the model rockets, so we made a bunch of our own because you'd lose them all the time or they'd break or something. So why are you spending like $12 on a pack?
Yeah.
So we take like toilet paper rolls and cardboard, normally toilet paper rolls or
paper towel rolls.
Paper towel rolls. Thank you. And you make them out of that.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember my dad bought us a kit. They were called Little Whistlers or something, and so they were a model rocket, but they were like just as big as like the AAA engine or the AA engine, like the small one. And so it was like this is probably like 3.5, 4 inches from nose to tail. Yeah. And it had a streamer in it. It didn't have a parachute because it wasn't big enough.
We have to get video because we constantly are showing sizes with our hands.
Yeah. I was sitting there looking at my hand. I was like, all right, that's about like 3.5,
I did that earlier
4 inches.
myself.
And so like that thing, because it was so small, it was just crazy. It would go anywhere. So I remember one time we sent it off and it started coming right at us, and then all of a sudden, went up,
launched up.
Yeah, launched up. But that thing would have hurt, dude.
All right. So what's your next toys?
Actually, I have one more on the rocket.
Okay,
one more on the rocket.
Okay, we're still on rocket.
So my dad made a potato gun. And we got a G.I. Joe, one of the big ones.
Okay.
Like the 12-inch. I think they were like 8 12-inch figures or something. And we put a parachute on it. And so his mission that summer was to get video of this G.I. Joe falling from the sky on this parachute. So we would, like, all summer, we would just try to, like, get good launches and stuff. I remember we ended up having to put a potato down it and then put the G.I. Joe in front of that and then launch it up.
Oh, let me guess. The potato would go flying way up in the air, and the G.I. Joe guy wouldn't go as, like, up.
It wouldn't go as far, no. My dad got a shot, but the problem was getting to that point because first we just got the G.I. Joe, and it got so hot in there that, like, the G.I. Joe started melting and stuff. It's crazy things we did shooting things in the air. All right, so my next one is 2007 Easy Bake Oven. Now, Esther was saying how she had an Easy Bake Oven.
Yeah, my wife. Esther's my wife.
Yeah, I didn't find any reports for that. Well, if people have been long-time listeners, then they should know who Esther is by now, right?
Yeah, that's true.
That's a
just for the newbies.
That's a
for the
Max
noobs.
Impact Theory club members only.
There you go.
Knowledge right there.
Yeah, we're gonna have to start a Patreon.
Patreon.
Yeah, and we'll divulge some secret information.
Oh no, we'll just
for only
we'll
$1
just
a
give
month.
them the video so they can see us doing the measurements with our hands.
For only $1 a month, get our special stuff on Patreon.
So it's the Easy Bake Oven in 2007. So the Easy Bake Oven was actually recalled twice. It was a mini oven with a hot plate in it that you could cook food in. That was the older one, and then there was
my wife said hers was a big one, like pretty big.
And then they have an Easy Bake Oven, but it's just a light bulb. But I think the reason that your wife's Easy Bake Oven wasn't as dangerous as this one, because this one was smaller. When Esther was talking to us about it, it seemed like it was probably like 3 feet by 4 foot.
Yeah,
like it was kind of like an oven. And this one, so it had a hot plate in it. And
it was like a toaster oven.
Yeah, and kids would get their hands stuck in it.
Okay.
And so they would burn their fingers would get stuck in it. There was a case where a little girl got her hand burnt so bad that they actually had to amputate her fingers.
Ooh.
So not another. Don't give your kid hot stuff, and don't let your kids play with fire. Hot things are power tools. I mean,
under supervision only.
Yeah. Don't get them Cinderella cars that light on fire. All right, so here's another one, a little more recent, 2012. So it's a magnet building kit that got recalled because they still make them, but it's like the super, or they call them rare earth magnets, right?
Rare earth magnets.
Rare earth magnets are like really strong magnets.
Okay.
They're not like your average magnet.
Okay, so how would this thing work? Like, what would you do?
So basically, it would be there's like magnet balls, and then there was tubes with magnets on the end.
Oh.
And then you'd build stuff with them. Or there was one where it's just magnet balls, and you'd stick them together.
Okay, quick flash. My wife bought one of these for the dojo at one time, and I wouldn't let her use it because I thought the balls were a choke hazard.
Yeah. So the balls aren't actually the choke hazard. The problem with the balls are when you ingest them, they go through your small intestine and large intestine, and they're strong enough to find each other and clamp your intestines together.
Oh, so if you have two.
So yeah, if you swallow more than one, they'll find each other, and they'll clamp together, and then you'll have really bad,
Yeah, Crohn's disease almost like.
You won't be going to the bathroom for a while. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
So that's dangerous. It's also extremely painful.
Well, I'm glad we never put them out at the dojo.
Yeah.
See, parents, you just have to have common sense with this stuff.
Now, you mentioned hoverboards earlier, so that's like a 2015 thing. That was all the rage. My cousins still have them. They're fun. So not all hoverboards are created equal. The cheap ones, if they were left unplugged, or if they were left plugged in to
the
charge,
Chinese knockoff,
then the battery would explode and light on fire and light your house on fire.
I remember they were showing like videos on the news of these things all the time with them burning up because people get them on, video on their camera of them.
Yeah. Now another thing is like falling hazards. A lot of people would get hurt like riding them.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen the show The Masked Singer?
The Masked Singer. I know what it is.
So The Masked Singer, there was a contestant in this season 2, who she broke her arm after the first episode.
On a hoverboard?
On a hoverboard. And so she was in a sling the whole time.
Okay. Was she the famous one?
They're all pretty famous.
Oh, they are? Okay.
Yeah. Well, I think that's one of the criteria. You actually have to be famous to be on the show.
Okay. I thought it was just like one person was.
No, they're all famous.
Oh, okay.
It's trying to figure out who it is. But yes, she was a spider. And so she had like this black latex sling in there.
Uh-huh.
And everybody's like, "Where's the sling from?" "Oh, I fell on a hoverboard."
Oh, jeez.
So I'm sure that's one of the dangers too. I have one more. Do you have any more?
Nope, I'm done with mine.
So the last one, I know that you have some experiences with them, and I have some experiences with them, is trampolines.
Oh, yeah,
They
trampolines.
are the most dangerous child product of all time.
Yeah. Well, I have to say, with trampoline in my age group, they didn't even have the nets on the outside. I remember once being at a friend's house, and they had this trampoline, and I was, you're jumping up and down on it. I'm getting as high as I can, and next thing you know, you hit, and you kind of hit a little off angle, and you start flying through the air. And I was like, I remember being like way up in the air, and oh no, I think I'm gonna not land back on the trampoline, And I did, but then I realized how dangerous they were.
I don't think the nets are as important as the spring covers.
Yo, yeah.
You ever see the plastic padded thing that goes around the spring? Because what happened with me was, you know how you bounce right before somebody else bounces, and I was always bigger than everybody else, so
yeah,
you bounce, and you bounce them higher.
Yeah.
So the kid bounced so high that he fell into the springs and got caught up in the springs.
Oh yeah.
And then
yeah.
he fell off and ripped.
Well,
so that's not fun stuff. But
well, I have to say there's other things with trampolines too. Besides that, is I have personal experience with this in our neighborhood. First off, those trampolines aren't made for more than one person. So this particular person in our neighborhood, they have 10 kids on it all at the same time. Didn't have it maintenance real well, and at one point the cover ripped through, and all the kids that were on it fell through. So that's kind of a danger.
Yeah.
So
how you get hurt ankles or broken legs or something.
Another time they had a problem because some of the springs went bad and
Same
broke.
neighbor.
Yep. So many different incidences with this trampoline.
Is it the same same neighbor that had it was a heavy windstorm?
Oh yeah, and their trampoline damaged our fence.
Trampoline turned into a kite and just rolled through the neighborhood.
It rolled through the neighborhood and grabbed our. We had a wood bench, and it actually pulled it and slammed it into our fence, and then the bench landed on the other side of our fence, and we had to get our fence fixed and insurance coverage and all that. So yeah, trampolines are dangerous in many ways.
Well, trampolines, homeowners insurance, insurance companies do not like insuring houses with trampolines because
they're so dangerous.
Here's the statistics.
Yeah.
So the trampoline's been in the backyard since 1975, and it causes 90,000 hospital visits a year.
That's a lot.
Not total, just every year, 90,000 hospital visits.
Not also to mention that trampoline is what do they call it? An attractive nuisance, like a pool where kids, next door, if you don't have it secured with a fence or something, might get into it.
Yeah.
So that's why insurance companies like it, because some kid could just, when you're not home, go over to your house, use the trampoline, get hurt, and then sue the household because of it.
When it's not when it's not your kids, it's somebody else's kids.
So check your insurance if you have a trampoline. Make sure it's covered.
Yeah,
is the bottom line.
Or just get rid of the trampoline because you don't want to see your homeowner insurance bill after you tell them you got a trampoline.
Or up your kid's health insurance.
Yeah, that too.
For injuries.
All right, well, that's all the dangerous toys I know about. I'm sure. I wonder. Maybe if
there's plenty more out there.
Yeah, I wonder if there's some that came out this year.
Yeah, if we missed any, and you're on one of our platforms where you can do commenting, make sure that you let us know. We don't want to hear it.
I made sure that I got the good ones because there's stuff like the Furbies.
Yeah.
They had an eating Furby that would bite your finger. They had the Cabbage Patch Kids that would eat the food.
Yeah.
And some kids would get their finger stuck in it and hurt their finger and stuff. I was like, that's not as exciting as Aqua Dots that have the GHB in it.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for listening to our podcast. If you want to comment or send us a message, we are at The Theory at maximpactkarate.com, and we'll see you in the next video.